Now, let's have a look at this post-election assessment from Federal Vice President of the Liberal Party, Fiona Scott. This might give some indication as to why the party has completely lost its direction under the current leadership, why they ran such a woeful Labor Light campaign. She has rejected comments made by former Liberal Prime Minister Tony Abbott and former Nationals Deputy Prime Minister John Anderson, who said that not all cultures are created equal. I would have thought that was a fairly self-evident statement, but she said there is good and bad in all cultures. It's ignorant to dismiss cultures or to rank cultures. It should be an aspiration for all people to do better, to strive to be better and to celebrate diversity and uniqueness. Oh God, where's my bucket? Adam, the Liberal Party lost in a landslide listening to that sort of advice, and it looks like those small L voices are being emboldened as opposed to being ashamed of their contribution to that loss.
Well, certainly the empirical record is very clear. Some cultures are superior to others. Western culture with, small government and individual rights has produced extraordinary economic growth over the centuries. So there's really no doubt about that. So I disagree with her there. I think our culture is much better just inherently. But look, where she might have a point is if you want to win elections in a country where 31% of people are born overseas, and that would include, many Muslims, many Chinese people, maybe trumpeting how great your own culture is not so helpful sometimes.
Well,
so
I don't think it was trumpeting, and I would argue if you've moved to Australia, particularly from a Muslim majority country, then there's a reason why you've moved here. And perhaps if those cultures were giving you precisely what you needed, whether it's in lifestyle or opportunity or freedom, then perhaps you would have stayed.
Yeah, look, that's a very good
where
point.
you were.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. I just think that if the Liberal Party ever wants to win, in 10, 20 years, those southwestern seats in Sydney ever have
Why
any
can't
hope?
they win by appealing to the fact that these people are, one, socially conservative when the Labor has veered to the far left on those cultural issues and the Liberals are too terrified to debate them on it. And also these people are often, particularly new migrants to this country, are hugely aspirational. They come here seeking a better future for their children. They want to work. They want to build wealth. They want to be independent. They don't want to be reliant on welfare. And that's, again, something else you can appeal to. But this election, we had the Liberal Party opposing tax cuts, personal income tax cuts.
It was pretty ridiculous. I mean, it was a very centre-left campaign, I would say. All this stuff about it was too Trump is nonsense, too right-wing. I mean, they can't point to a single policy that shows that. It was very centre-left. So if there's a problem, then it's that, not that it was too right-wing.
But the post-mortem analysis from all the usual hacks is that they need to veer further left. Every time they veer left, they lose and lose badly. We've seen it with previous campaigns, and we've seen it in Victoria, WA, elsewhere, and the learnings from it seem to be completely missing. Now, let's talk about Goldstein, your seat and mine, the former Teal MP there, Zoe Daniel. She prematurely declared victory. Remember that? That was kind of hilarious. Look at her celebrating. It was great. Yay. Well, she seems in denial over the loss, Adam. Tim Wilson has declared victory. Everyone accepts that. The media's reported on it. But Zoe Daniel, in her latest post on X, has again refused to admit defeat, stating that there are still up to 10,000 votes to count. And she also said the AEC has not yet declared the seat, calling on her supporters to respect the process and voters until a definitive position is clear. I didn't see her respecting the process when she was dancing around celebrating the massive win. Someone in a circle needs to have a word with her.
That was very embarrassing.
Maybe you, being a neighbour, could just walk across and go, Zoe, let's have a word.
She must be pretty shattered. But look, she's going to lose a big salary soon.
Yeah.
I'm not sure actually when the official date that it gets cut off. Maybe it's when it's declared. I don't know. But look, she'll be okay. She's going to get a job in the solar or the wind power industry as your head of comms or
back at the ABC
on a big salary, or maybe even back at the ABC. So I think she'll be fine financially, but she's probably personally a bit shattered and embarrassed, because that was hilarious.
It was. Now to an outrageous proposal by the Productivity Commission, the ironically named Productivity Commission. They're talking about imposing a road congestion tax on those visiting Melbourne CBD.
By the 2050s, more than 9 million people will call Melbourne home.
As more and more people are trying to come into our cities, the challenge is our roads get super busy.
The Productivity Commission putting forward a proposal to bring in a congestion levy, a charge for motorists to try to limit the number of cars and trucks and encourage people to walk or ride instead.
New York has just introduced such a charge. What we've seen is that travel times have fallen on all the routes that are going into the city.
Adam, the fact that this mob call themselves the Productivity Commission is absurd, as is the notion that this tax is working a treat in New York. Yeah, of course it's reducing traffic because poor people, ordinary working people, can't afford to drive into the city anymore. So if you want to exclude poor people from the CBD, from driving into the CBD, then yeah, go right ahead promoting this tax.
I completely agree with those arguments. It's very regressive. And also they're getting ahead of themselves. Traffic in Melbourne, it's bad, but it's not like Manhattan. I mean, so they just want to introduce a tax, clearly. They just like it.
They're just anti-car. They're anti-car. They want to see bike lanes, which nobody is using. They want to see more public transport. You know what? You can't take home 6 bags of shopping on your bike, particularly if you live in Narre Warren.
But the head of the PC, the Productivity Commission, she was a big champion of lockdowns, actually.
Oh, of course.
So I'm not surprised that she also supports this sort of tax. I mean, we need less tax in this country, not more. I mean, if they want to boost productivity, why are they talking about stamp duties in Victoria? I mean, I just bought a place. I have to pay 50 grand just for someone to go, that's it.
That's it.
I mean, that's a huge
And that prevents you from easily selling that property and buying something else because you'll have to pay it each and every time.
It's a massive problem, but just silence from the Productivity Commission.
The productivity, we need to have some truth in what people call themselves and their bodies. And calling the Productivity Commission that name is an insult to productivity and to the English language. Adam Creighton, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Rita.